Robert is 56 years old. He has $173,000 in his 401k. That is everything he has saved for retirement in 32 years of working. He will not be able to retire at 65. He will work until 75 at minimum, probably longer. His daughter graduated from college 3 years ago. She went to a private university. The total cost over 4 years was $218,000. Robert paid for all of it. He took out Parent Plus loans for $147,000. He paid $71,000 from savings and from cash-flowing tuition while she was in school. The $147,000 in Parent Plus loans are in his name. His daughter is not responsible for them. Robert is. The monthly payment is $1,263. He will be paying it until he is 71. His daughter makes $58,000 per year as a marketing coordinator. She has her own apartment. She is doing fine. She thinks her dad is doing fine too. She does not know he destroyed his retirement to pay for her degree. Robert does not regret it. He says it was worth it to give her a debt-free start. He will work until he drops dead because he gave his daughter a debt-free start while going into debt himself. His retirement account has $173,000. At a 4% withdrawal rate, that generates $6,900 per year in retirement income. Robert cannot live on $6,900 per year. He cannot retire. He sacrificed his financial future for his daughter's college degree. She graduated debt-free. He will die in debt. This is not generosity. This is financial self-destruction disguised as good parenting. And 43% of parents are doing exactly what Robert did, funding their children's college education while destroying their own retirement security. The college funding trap is not about whether education has value. It is about parents bankrupting themselves to pay for something their children should fund themselves and calling it love. My name is Bobby, and I spent the last 6 months researching how parents funding college degrees are systematically destroying their retirement while their children graduate into stable careers and never look back. If you're a parent who is planning to pay for your kids' college, if you are already paying and wondering how you will ever retire, if you sacrificed your financial security for your children's education and you are starting to realize the cost, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. What I am about to show you is not about whether kids should go to college or whether education is valuable. This is about how the cultural expectation that good parents pay for college is bankrupting an entire generation of 50 and 60-year-olds who will never retire, and why your children are better off with student loans than you are with Parent Plus loans and an empty retirement account. Paying for your kids' college is not an investment in their future. It is the destruction of yours. The math is brutal and non-negotiable. Robert is 56 with $173,000 in retirement savings. If he stops contributing entirely and lets that $173,000 grow at 7% annually until 70, he will have $343,000 at 70. That generates $13,720 per year at 4% withdrawal. He cannot retire on that. If Robert had not paid for his daughter's college, if he had told her to take out student loans and he had invested the $71,000 he paid in cash, plus the $1,263 per month he is currently paying on Parent Plus loans, here's what happens. $71,000 invested at age 53, growing at 7% for 17 years until 70, becomes $229,000. $1,263 per month invested from 56 to 70 is 14 years of contributions. That is $212,664 in contributions. Compounded at 7%, that becomes $314,000.
Total retirement savings if Robert had not funded college, $543,000 in additional retirement savings. Add that to his current $173,000. He would have $716,000 at 70 instead of $343,000. The difference is $373,000. Robert traded $373,000 in retirement wealth so his daughter could graduate debt-free. His daughter makes $58,000 per year. If she had taken out student loans for the full $218,000 and paid them off over 20 years at 6% interest, her monthly payment would be $1,562. That is painful but manageable on $58,000. She would pay it off by 42 and then invest aggressively for retirement. Robert will be paying his Parent Plus loans until 71 and will never be able to retire. He gave her a debt-free start. He gave him a retirement-free end. The Parent Plus loan trap is specifically designed to destroy parents financially while appearing to help kids. Parent Plus loans are federal loans that parents can take out to cover college costs. They are in the parent's name. The student is not legally responsible for them. The loans have higher interest rates than student loans, currently 8.05% compared to 5.5% for undergraduate federal student loans. The monthly payments are not income-driven. There is no forgiveness after 20 years. If the parent dies, the loan is forgiven, but if the parent becomes disabled and cannot work, the payments continue. Parent Plus loans are the worst possible loan structure for funding education. They are higher interest than student loans. They are in the name of the person with fewer earning years remaining, and they have fewer protections. Robert took out $147,000 at 8.05%. His monthly payment is $1,263. Over 15 years, he will pay $227,340 total. He borrowed $147,000. He will pay $80,340 in interest. That $80,000 is money that will never compound in his retirement account. If he had invested that $80,000 instead of paying it in interest, it would be worth $212,000 at retirement. The interest on the Parent Plus loan cost Robert $212,000 in lost retirement wealth. His daughter could have taken out the same loans in her name at a lower interest rate with income-driven repayment and potential forgiveness. She did not because Dad offered to take the loans. Dad destroyed himself financially to protect her from debt she could have handled. The earnings timeline asymmetry is what makes this generational wealth transfer insane. Robert is 56. He has 14 years of peak earning potential left before Social Security age, maybe 19 years if he works to 70. His daughter is 25. She has 40 years of earning potential ahead of her. Robert is taking on debt that he will repay during his final earning years when he should be maximizing retirement contributions. His daughter avoided debt during her highest earning decades when loan payments would have been easiest to absorb. The person with 14 years left to earn is paying for the education of the person with 40 years left to earn. The math is backwards. The daughter should carry the debt because she has 4 decades to pay it off and invest afterward. Robert should carry 0 education debt because he has 1 decade to save for a retirement that is supposed to last 30 years. Instead, Robert is paying $1,263 until 71. His daughter is investing in her own 401k and building wealth, while her father sacrifices his retirement to eliminate debt she never had to carry.
The retirement account comparison makes this even more insane. Robert has $173,000 in his 401k at 56. His daughter has $18,000 in her 401k at 25. In 30 years, when Robert is 86 and his daughter is 55, here is where they will be. Robert's $173,000 growing at 7% for 30 years becomes $1.3 million. That assumes he contributes nothing more, which is realistic because he is paying $1,263 per month on Parent Plus loans and cannot afford to contribute. His daughter's $18,000 growing at 7% for 30 years becomes $137,000. But she is also contributing 10% of her $58,000 salary, $5,800 per year, and that contribution grows with her salary. Assuming 3% annual raises, her contributions over 30 years total $316,000. Compounded at 7%, her 401k at 55 will be $960,000. She will have $960,000 at 55. Her father will have $1.3 million at 86. He has more, but he is 31 years older. At 55, Robert had $94,000 in his 401k. His daughter will have 10 times what he had at the same age. She is outsaving him by an order of magnitude because she has no debt and he has Parent Plus loans. She benefited from his sacrifice. He will die working because of it. The retirement wealth gap between them exists because Robert paid for college and she did not have to. The guilt and expectation cycle is what traps parents into this decision. Robert did not want his daughter to start her career in debt. He remembers his own student loans. He paid them off over 15 years and he hated every payment. He wanted better for her. The cultural narrative is that good parents pay for college. Bad parents make their kids take loans. Robert wanted to be a good parent. He sacrificed his retirement to prove it. His daughter did not ask him to do this. She would have taken loans if he had said no. She did not know how much it would cost him. Robert did not tell her. He just did it. And now he is trapped. He cannot tell her he is broke because he paid for her college. That would make her feel guilty. He cannot ask her to help with the loans because they are in his name and she is not responsible. He sacrificed in silence, and he will suffer in silence. The guilt cycle prevents honesty. Parents destroy themselves financially and hide it from their kids to avoid making the kids feel bad. The kids never know the cost. They think their parents are fine. Robert's daughter thinks her dad is set for retirement. She has no idea he will be working at 78 because he paid for her marketing degree. The alternative timeline is what Robert refuses to consider because it feels like bad parenting. If Robert had told his daughter at 18 that he could not afford to pay for college and she needed to take out loans, here's what would have happened. She takes out $120,000 in federal student loans at 5.5%. The remaining $98,000 she covers with scholarships, part-time work during school, and summer internships. She graduates with $120,000 in debt. Her monthly payment on income-driven repayment is $683, starting at $58,000 salary. That is painful but manageable. She lives with roommates, she drives a used car, she budgets. Over 20 years, she pays off the loans. Total paid $164,000. Interest paid $44,000. At 45, she is debt-free, and she starts aggressively investing. From 45 to 65, she maxes out her 401k and saves an additional 20% of her income in a brokerage account. She retires at 65 with $2.8 million. She had debt for 20 years. She retired wealthy. Robert had no debt related to his own education. He took on debt for his daughter's education. He will never retire. The daughter who carried her own debt retired at 65 with $2.8 million. The father who carried his daughter's debt will work until he dies. Debt on the young person with 40 earning years is manageable and does not prevent wealth building. Debt on the old person with 14 earning years is catastrophic and prevents retirement. Robert chose catastrophic for himself to give his daughter manageable. He thought he was helping. He was self-destructing. The Social Security gap is the final nail. Robert will claim Social Security at 70 because he cannot afford to wait until full retirement age to maximize benefits. He worked his entire career. His Social Security benefit at 70 will be about $2,600 per month. That is $31,200 per year. Add his 401k withdrawal of $13,720, total retirement income $44,920 per year. His current spending is $62,000 per year. He will take a $17,000 pay cut in retirement, and he will still be paying the Parent Plus loan until 71. The $1,263 per month loan payment is $15,156 per year. Subtract that from his $44,920 retirement income.
He will have $29,764 to live on from 70 to 71 while paying off his daughter's college loans. He cannot live on that. He will not retire at 70. He will keep working. The Parent Plus loans will force him to work until the loans are paid off at 71. Then he will assess whether he can retire on $44,920 per year. He probably cannot. He will keep working. Robert will work until his body gives out because he paid for college instead of saving for retirement. The forgiveness fantasy is what keeps parents taking these loans. Robert thinks if something happens to him, the loans will be forgiven and his daughter will not be responsible. This is true. Parent Plus loans are forgiven upon the parent's death. But that is not a plan. That is financial nihilism. Robert is hoping he dies before 71 so the loans disappear. If he lives, he is stuck with them. This is not a retirement strategy. This is a suicide pact with debt. And even if Robert dies and the loans are forgiven, his daughter inherits nothing because he has no assets. He spent everything on her college. She got a free education. He got a free funeral. The forgiveness upon death is not a benefit. It is an acknowledgement that the loans are designed to be unpayable for many parents. The structure assumes some parents will die with the debt. That is the business model. Loan money to parents in their 50s who will work until they die trying to pay it back. If they succeed, the lender wins. If they die, the lender writes it off and moves to the next parent. Robert is collateral damage in a system that profits from parental guilt. The sibling equity problem is what happens when parents pay for one kid and then realize they cannot afford to pay for the next. Robert has a younger son who is 16. The son will go to college in 2 years. Robert cannot afford to pay for the son's college. He's already drowning in Parent Plus loans from the daughter. The son will have to take out his own loans. The daughter got a free ride. The son gets debt. This creates resentment and inequity between siblings. The daughter thinks dad paid for college because he loves her. The son thinks dad is not paying because he loves her more. Robert is trapped. He cannot afford to take out more Parent Plus loans. He also cannot explain to his son that he destroyed his finances paying for the daughter's college, and now the son has to fend for himself. The inequity is locked in. One kid got parental funding, the other does not. The parent is broke either way. This is what happens when parents fund college without a plan. They pay for the first kid, realize they cannot sustain it, and the subsequent kids get nothing. The fair solution would have been to tell both kids from the beginning that college is their responsibility, and Robert would help where he could, but would not take on debt. Both kids take loans, both kids are treated equally. Robert retires. Everyone wins except the loan servicers. The income-driven repayment advantage is what Robert's daughter lost by not having her own loans. If she had taken out $120,000 in federal student loans, she would qualify for income-driven repayment. On income-driven repayment, monthly payments are capped at 10% of discretionary income. At $58,000 salary, her discretionary income is about $36,000. 10% is $300 per month. That is half of what Robert is paying on Parent Plus loans for the same debt. After 20 years of payments, any remaining balance is forgiven. If her income stays relatively flat, she might pay $60,000 total, and the remaining $60,000 plus interest is forgiven. She would have been better off with her own loans than Robert is with Parent Plus loans. Parent Plus loans do not have income-driven repayment. They do not have forgiveness after 20 years. They have none of the protections that student loans have. Robert took on worse debt with fewer protections to shield his daughter from better debt with more protections. He made her situation better and his situation catastrophic. She could have handled the debt. He cannot. What Robert should have done is obvious in hindsight, but culturally unacceptable to say out loud. He should have told his daughter that he could not afford to pay for college. He should have helped her apply for scholarships. He should have encouraged her to work part-time during school. He should have told her to take out federal student loans for whatever gap remained. He should have offered to help with loan payments after graduation if he was financially able, but he should not have taken on the debt himself. His daughter would have graduated
graduated with $120,000 in loans. She would have paid them off over 20 years. She would still be on track to retire wealthy. Robert would have continued saving for retirement. He would have $716,000 at 70. He could retire. Both of them would be fine. Instead, Robert has $173,000 and will work until he dies. His daughter has no debt and is building wealth. One person sacrificed everything. The other person benefited and doesn't even know the cost. This is not a success story. This is financial abuse that the victim inflicted on himself. If you are Robert, or if you are a parent who is planning to pay for your kids' college, or if you are already paying and realizing you cannot afford it, here's what you do. First, stop. If you are currently paying for college out of cash flow or taking out Parent Plus loans, stop immediately. Sit down with your child and explain that you cannot continue funding their education without destroying your retirement. This conversation will be uncomfortable. Do it anyway. Your child is an adult. They can handle the truth. They cannot handle you working until 80 because you hid the cost from them. Second, if you already have Parent Plus loans, calculate the total cost of repaying them and compare it to what your retirement savings will be if you continue paying. If the loans will prevent you from retiring, consider whether your child can refinance the loans into their own name. Some private lenders allow this. If refinancing is not possible, have a conversation with your child about whether they can help with payments. The loans are in your name, but the education benefited them. Shared responsibility is fair. Third, if you have not started paying for college yet, do not start. Tell your children from the beginning that college is their responsibility financially. Offer to help them apply for scholarships and financial aid. Offer to let them live at home during community college to save money. Offer to match their savings for college or help with loan payments after they graduate if you are able, but do not take on debt for their education. Fourth, prioritize your retirement over their college. This sounds selfish. It is not. If you do not save for retirement, you will be financially dependent on your children in your 70s and 80s. They will have to support you. That is a bigger burden than student loans. Student loans end after 20 years. Supporting a broke parent lasts until the parent dies. Your children are better off with debt and a financially independent parent than with no debt and a parent they have to support for 30 years. Fifth, if you feel guilty about not paying for college, reframe it. You are not abandoning your children. You are teaching them financial responsibility and ensuring that you will never be a financial burden to them later. That is good parenting. Robert is 56. He has $173,000 saved. He will work until 75 at minimum because he paid for his daughter's college. His daughter is 25. She has $18,000 saved. She will retire at 65 with nearly $3 million because her father paid for her college and she invested the money she would have spent on loans. The wealth transfer from Robert to his daughter is complete. She benefited, he was destroyed, and she doesn't even know. She thinks her dad is fine. She thinks he did this because he could afford it. He could not afford it. He did it anyway because the culture told him that good parents pay for college. The culture lied. Good parents ensure their own financial security so they are not a burden to their children. Good parents teach their children that debt is manageable and building wealth after college is possible. Good parents do not sacrifice their retirement to give their kids a debt-free start. Robert sacrificed. His daughter will be wealthy. Robert will die working. This is not love. This is financial suicide with a parent-child relationship as the justification. You can keep believing that paying for your kids' college is an investment in their future and that good parents make this sacrifice, or you can recognize that destroying your retirement to eliminate their debt is bad for both of you, that student loans are designed for young people with decades to repay them, and Parent Plus loans are designed to bankrupt parents who feel guilty. Robert chose guilt. His retirement is gone. His daughter is fine. The difference is not love or generosity. The difference is understanding that your financial security is a gift to your children because it means they will never have to support you. I've been obsessing over this, so parents, stop destroying themselves to fund college. If this makes you reconsider taking out Parent Plus loans, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.